After 60, the wrong fish can quietly drain your brain, strain your heart, and load your body with toxins you do not need. And the scary part is this: some of the fish people call healthy are the very ones you should be avoiding. If you want to stay healthy and independent as you age, hit that subscribe button right now. We share science-backed health tips like this every single day. Over the years, one pattern keeps showing up again and again. People try to eat better, they switch to fish, they think they are doing everything right, but they never learn that not all fish help your body in the same way. Some act like clean fuel, others act more like dirty smoke in an old engine. Here's the thing, so after 60, your margin for error gets smaller, your kidneys filter more slowly, your brain becomes more sensitive to inflammation, which is silent swelling inside the body. Your blood vessels get less forgiving, so the fish you choose now matters more than it did at 30. Today, I'm going to show you the 4 fish you should avoid, the 4 fish you should eat more often, and the simple way to shop without getting confused. Now, before we continue, tell me your age and where you're watching from in the comments. This helps us understand who we're helping. Here's what most people get wrong. They think all fish is healthy just because it comes from the sea. Not true. Fish is not one food. It is a whole category. And inside that category, you have huge differences in mercury, omega-3 fats, sodium, freshness, and even how long that fish has been collecting pollutants in the water. Look, mercury is not just a pregnancy issue. It matters for seniors too. Mercury is a heavy metal. Think of it like fine grit in a machine. A little may not stop the motor, but over time it adds friction where you least want it, in your nerves, your brain, and your blood vessels. At the same time, the right fish can give you omega-3 fats, which work like oil for stiff hinges. They help calm inflammation and support your heart and brain. A 2024 analysis highlighted by UMass Lowell found that in some long-term studies, eating 2 fish portions per week was linked to a 30% reduction in Alzheimer's disease risk. That is not a tiny change. That is a big difference from a simple food choice. And a study led by a Tufts researcher found that older adults with higher blood levels of omega-3s from seafood had an 18% lower risk of unhealthy aging. So yes, fish can help you, but only if you pick the right kind. Number 5, king mackerel. Most people think all mackerel is a smart choice because they hear oily fish and stop there. But actually, king mackerel is a different story. Not all mackerel is equal. Atlantic mackerel is one thing. King mackerel is another. This is where people get burned. King mackerel is a big, long-living predator fish, and big predator fish are like old vacuum cleaners in the ocean. They keep sucking up smaller fish, and with them, they collect more mercury over time. The FDA puts king mackerel in its choice to avoid group because of its high mercury levels. If you are over 60, that matters. Why? Because your body is not as quick to bounce back from extra toxic load, especially if you already have blood pressure issues, memory concerns, or kidney trouble. Let me make this simple. If salmon is a clean burning lamp, king mackerel is a smoky kerosene heater. Yes, it is still fish, but it creates a very different burden inside your body. So what should you do at the store? First, do not buy any package that just says mackerel, unless it clearly says Atlantic mackerel. Read the label slowly. Second, if you see king mackerel on a restaurant menu, skip it. Third, if you want that rich, meaty taste, choose salmon, trout, or sardines instead. A 3-ounce serving of Atlantic salmon gives you about 1.59 to 1.83 grams of DHA and EPA, the 2 omega-3 fats your body uses best. That is a much better trade. And here's something else. If you already feel more forgetful than you used to, or you deal with numb feet, tingling hands, or shaky balance, why take extra chances with high mercury fish? But wait until you see number 4. Number 4, orange roughy. Most people think orange roughy sounds harmless. It even sounds gentle, doesn't it? But actually, this is one of the classic trap foods for older adults. It is often sold as a mild white fish. And because it does not taste fishy, many people assume it must be safer. That is the opposite of how this works. Orange roughy is another long-living fish. Some live for well over 100 years. And the longer a fish lives, the more time it has to collect contaminants. Again, the FDA lists orange roughy among the fish to avoid because of high mercury. That means you are not getting a good return for the risk. A 2019 meta-analysis from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health and Brigham and Women's Hospital found that higher omega-3 intake was linked with an 8% lower risk of heart attack and death from coronary heart disease. Notice what that study points you toward, not random white fish with high mercury, but fish that actually deliver the protective fats. So how do you handle orange roughy in real life? If you eat out, ask one question before ordering any white fish. What kind of fish is this exactly? Not, is it fresh? Not, is it healthy? Ask the species. If they say orange roughy, pass. At home, replace it with cod once in a while if you want a lean fish, but for real senior health value, rotate in salmon, sardines, trout, and herring during the week. Quick question. Have you been feeling more tired, foggy, or forgetful lately? Comment yes or no below. I read those comments and they help shape future videos. Number 3, shark and big eye tuna. Most people think the danger comes from fried fish or fast food fish, but actually some of the bigger danger comes from fish that look fancy, expensive, or protein-packed. Shark and big eye tuna are two of the best examples. Shark is high on the mercury list for the same reason as king mackerel and orange roughy. It sits high on the food chain. Big eye tuna is the tuna many people do not realize they are eating. Not all tuna is the same. Canned light tuna is not the same as big eye. This is where label reading saves you. Think of it like this. Your body after 60 is like a house with older plumbing. You want clean water moving through it, not sludge. High mercury fish can add stress where you least need it, and if you already take several medications, why add another burden your body has to process? A 2024 UMass Lowell review of 24 studies involving more than 700,000 people noted that in some long-term studies, 2 fatty fish servings a week were tied to a 30% reduction in Alzheimer's disease, and women eating 2 fatty fish servings per week had a 22% lower rate of heart attacks. That benefit comes from the right fish, not the risky ones. Here's your practical move. If you enjoy tuna, choose canned light tuna occasionally, but do not assume every tuna steak is safe just because it is grilled. If a sushi place or steakhouse serves seared tuna and does not name the species, ask. If they cannot tell you, do not order it. And if you ever see shark sold under another name, like certain regional names on seafood menus, skip it. Also, let me be clear, if you are over 60, the FDA says older adults should avoid raw or undercooked seafood because food poisoning can hit harder and last longer. So even a lower mercury fish becomes a bad choice if it is raw and your immune system is not what it used to be. Now let's switch from what to avoid to what your body may actually thank you for. But first, remember this. Avoiding the wrong fish is not enough. You also need to bring in the right ones. And number 2 is one of the best bargains in any grocery store. Number 2, sardines and herring. Most people think sardines are old-fashioned, too salty, or only for people who grew up eating them, but actually sardines and herring may be 2 of the smartest fish choices after 60. Why? Because they are small, oily, and lower on the food chain. That usually means less mercury and more of the fats your heart and brain want. These fish are like little nutrient batteries, small size, big output. A 3-ounce serving of canned sardines gives you about 0.74 grams of DHA and 0.45 grams of EPA. A 3-ounce serving of Atlantic herring gives you about 0.94 grams of DHA and 0.77 grams of EPA. That is serious nutrition from a small portion. And there is more. A study summarized by Tufts found that older adults with higher omega-3 levels from seafood had an 18% lower risk of developing major chronic problems tied to unhealthy aging. Another Ohio State study found omega-3s lowered one inflammation marker by 10% to 12% and reduced oxidative stress by about 15%. Oxidative stress is like body rust. It is the wear and tear that builds up over time. So how do you actually eat sardines if you are not used to them? Start easy. Buy boneless, skinless sardines packed in water or olive oil. Drain them, put them on whole grain toast with lemon and a thin layer of mustard. Or mash them with plain yogurt and a little black pepper for a simple spread. If the flavor worries you, start with half a can. Not a whole can, but half. Your taste buds adapt. With herring, choose it grilled or baked when possible. If you buy pickled herring, watch the sodium. Some jars are very salty. A good routine is 1 small serving, about 3 ounces, twice a week. That gives you the benefit without overdoing the salt. Before we go further, if this is making sense so far, hit that like button. It tells me you want more videos like this. Number 1, salmon and rainbow trout. Most people think salmon is the only healthy fish, and while it is excellent, the real win is knowing salmon and rainbow trout can be your simple 1-2 punch. One is the superstar, the other is the quiet backup that often costs less. Salmon is one of the richest common food sources of DHA and EPA. A 3-ounce serving of Atlantic salmon gives you around 1.59 to 1.83 grams of omega-3s. Rainbow trout gives you about 0.44 grams of DHA and 0.40 grams of EPA in 3 ounces. That may not sound dramatic, but together these fish make it much easier to reach the amount linked with healthier aging. A 2019 study from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people taking daily marine omega-3s had an 8% lower risk of heart attack and death from coronary heart disease. And the American Heart Association has long pointed people toward fatty fish because these fats help lower triglycerides, which are blood fats that can stress your heart and may slightly lower blood pressure too. And here is something people love to overlook. Salmon and trout are easy. They do not need fancy recipes. They do not need expensive sauces. They just need a little salt-free seasoning, lemon, and 12 to 15 minutes in the oven at 400 degrees. That is it. If you want the easiest version, buy frozen salmon fillets or frozen trout. Put 1 fillet in the fridge overnight. Bake it. Pair it with a bag of frozen vegetables and a small baked potato. That is a real meal, not trendy but effective, and isn't that what you want now? Not hype, but results. If fresh fish is too expensive, buy canned salmon. Mix 3 ounces with chopped celery, a spoon of plain Greek yogurt, and a squeeze of lemon. Put it into a lettuce wrap or eat it with whole grain crackers. If chewing is hard, flake it very fine. If you live alone, freeze single portions so food does not go to waste. I'd love to hear your story. What made you click on this video today? Share in the comments. Let's pump the brakes for a second. I'm not saying this to scare you, but even healthy fish choices need common sense. If you take warfarin, Epixaban, or another blood thinner, talk with your doctor before adding large omega-3 supplements. Food is one thing. High-dose fish oil pills are another. If you have severe kidney disease, gout, swallowing problems, or a seafood allergy, you also need personalized advice. And do not ignore sodium. Smoked salmon, pickled herring, and some canned fish can carry a lot of salt. If your ankles swell, your blood pressure runs high, or your doctor told you to watch sodium, read the label. Also, older adults should avoid raw or undercooked fish and shellfish. Food poisoning after 60 is not a minor inconvenience. It can put you in the hospital. When should you call your doctor? If you get hives, lip swelling, wheezing, vomiting, severe diarrhea, or chest tightness after eating fish, get help right away. If you are noticing worsening memory, shaking, numbness, or trouble walking, do not assume it is just age. Get it checked so you're convinced, but thinking, how do I actually do this? And start simple. The easiest plan is 2 fish meals a week. Meal 1 can be salmon or trout. Meal 2 can be sardines or herring. That alone puts you far ahead of most people. If budget is tight, canned sardines and canned salmon are your best friends. They are cheaper than fresh fillets, last longer, and still give you the nutrients that matter. If taste is the issue, begin with salmon first. It is the easiest for most people. Then add sardines later in a milder recipe. If shopping feels confusing, use one rule. Choose smaller fatty fish more often and avoid large predator fish. You do not need a perfect meal plan, you need a repeatable one. Keep 2 cans of sardines or salmon in the cupboard. Keep frozen salmon or trout in the freezer. Keep lemon, olive oil, and black pepper in the kitchen. That gives you a healthy fish meal in under 20 minutes, even on a tired day. Look, there's a lot of noise out there. One person says eat more fish. Another says avoid fish completely. The truth is much simpler than that. Not all fish hurts you and not all fish helps you. After 60, the smartest move is not eating more seafood blindly. It is choosing better seafood on purpose. You don't need to overthink this. Skip king mackerel, orange roughy, shark, and big eye tuna. Lean into sardines, herring, salmon, and rainbow trout. Start with just one swap this week. Replace one risky fish meal with salmon, sardines, herring, or trout. That is enough to get moving. Your body will tell you if it's working. You may notice steadier energy, less inflammation, better recovery, and maybe even a clearer mind over time. Small choices add up. They always do. If this helped you, hit that like button. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed because we post new health tips every single day. Stay healthy, stay strong.